Ring the bell. We got a new winner. Christopher Bell is the first, I believe, non-Chevrolet to win in the NASCAR Cup Series this year. And really quick, I want to bring something up. By the way, poll has been up for a bit on the community tab. I won $150 today on DraftKings, so I can't be too upset. But yeah, spam the bells in the chat. Yes, I am correct. Awesome. Yeah, spam the bells in the chat, and we'll just go nuts with it. Or 20s, whatever you'd like to do. While we're at it, if I can figure out how to get back. Let's see. There we go. I'm going to start a poll with you guys. Was this better than Phoenix last year? I think that's the question a lot of people have with the new short track package, everything like that. We will read those super chats in a bit. We're going to get through the race itself, but was this better than Phoenix last year? Let me know what you guys think. Again, on the community tab, we have the poll up for what we'll do with the podcast. We'll read it on the podcast on Wednesday night, and I have a feeling I'm getting one of my predictions wrong because I thought we would have our expectations so low people would like anything. And while we roll that poll out there, let's look into this race. And wow, this is interesting. I have it on NASCAR.com right now. With the official results, this race was the 2024 Shriners Children's 500. It was 312 laps. There were 10 lead changes among 6 leaders, 6 cautions on the day. And get this, the race went 3 hours, 3 minutes, and 3 seconds. Straight threes across for how long this race was. Christopher Bell was your winner. Pretty obvious at about halfway that he probably had the car to beat. Was really fast in practice because we actually had practice. And he showed out in this race. Toyotas overall were really fast in it. But Chris Buescher and RFK in general improved this week. They get back on track this season. Buescher with the second place finish, or as Kevin Harvick would say, Buescher, or Buescher, however he likes to say it. He says a lot of words like my great-grandma used to say them, which I don't mind. It's just weird hearing that from Kevin Harvick. Ty Gibbs in third. Then you got fourth place finishing Brad Keselowski. And then Ryan Blaney barely beats out Ross Chastain for a top 5 finish. He gets fifth over 6th place Chastain. Truex recovers from having to pit with about 40 or so, I think, to go. About 40 to go. To a 7th place finish. Michael McDowell, solid day, 8th place run in what I believe is his hometown racetrack. Chase Briscoe gets a 9th place run, so good run for Stewart-Haas Racing. And when you look at this top 10, it is all Toyota and Ford. There are 4 Toyotas, and there are 5 Fords, 1 Chevrolet being Ross Chastain. That 10th place finisher is a Toyota as well. Tyler Reddick, his car just started fading late. He was able to salvage a top 10 out of it after the flip around and strategy we'll talk about. Denny Hamlin spun in front of your favorite driver earlier today, but came back to finish 11th on the day, barely beating Noah Gragson, who had a very solid run as well. Noah Gragson, had it not been for that penalty, probably is in the playoffs right now. Daniel Suarez in 13th, 14th, Kyle Larson, 15th, good run for Carson Hocevar. And I'm just going to outright say it at this point. I think Carson Hocevar is the face of Spire right now. I mean, he is running laps around Corey LaJoie when LaJoie is able to keep it on track, and Zane Smith just cannot keep it out of trouble. Bubba Wallace, a quiet 16th place on the day, 17th for Todd Gilliland, and then you got the last 3 in the top 20, all 3 Hendrick drivers, way worse finishes than they actually ran, especially William Byron in 18th. He ran top 10 and top 5 for much of the day. Chase Elliott ran top 5 early in the day and top 10 for much of it, and he's in 19th. And 20th, Alex Bowman. He was in the top 10 a little bit today, but you really didn't hear anything about him. And final car in the lead lap in 21st, Ricky Stenhouse. Kyle Busch, tough day, finishes a lap down in 22nd. Very tough start to the year for Rowdy. Just continuing the backslide that he had last year in finishes. Ryan Preece, 23rd. Justin Haley, 24th in the Rick Ware car. And John Hunter Nemechek, 25th. Those are your lap down cars. Josh Berry, in the car that Kevin Harvick somehow willed to almost win this race last year, finished 26th, 2 laps down. I think it is not as much an indictment on Berry for being back there. I know he got collected and stuff too. But just showing how good Kevin Harvick was for Stewart-Haas Racing the last couple of years. He talked about his back hurt and going in the apron. His back, he probably didn't want to say his back hurts still from carrying that team. Harrison Burton, 2 laps down in 27th. Daniel Hemrick, also 2 down in 28th. 29th, 3 laps off the pace is Zane Smith, as is Kaz Grala in 30th. Eric Jones looked fast today, just didn't work out. Got into the wall late, 7 laps down in 31st. 32nd, Austin Dillon, 8 off the pace after another early issue. And then the rest of these guys were out, being 33rd place, Corey LaJoie. 34th place, Joey Logano. Just a nightmare start for that 22 team. Derek Kraus in 35th, being caught up in that wreck with those 3. And then the first one out of the race after only 6 laps, Austin Cindric, dead last, 36th place finish. And looking at the poll, we're going to let it run for a little while, but at the moment, I'd ask you guys, was this better than Phoenix last year? We're over 300 votes, and 53% of you say no, to 47% saying yes. Real quick, thank you to Hunter Nixon Fishing for the 5. Daytona, Atlanta were classics. Las Vegas was a good race. This race sucked. Why can NASCAR not get this short track package right? I think for a lot of the reasons that we have the intermediate package right. This car just works for some tracks and doesn't work for others, whether it's the gearing, the transmission, all that, the aero package, horsepower, all of it. All of it works really well in conjunction at these 1.5-mile tracks like a Kansas or a Charlotte, but just doesn't work at these mile and shorter tracks. It's why we're not going to have this package next week at Bristol as well as Dover. Thank God, because we might have a shot at a somewhat fun race. And then Reverend Rasheem Hall Stewart for the 250. Where should the championship be raced at? The championship race be raced at? I'm on the Homestead train. I am fully on the Homestead train. We'll have the finishing order up top here throughout the rest of the stream. See where your favorite driver finished. See which driver of yours I butchered spelling their name. I'm pretty sure I got them all right, or at least most of them. Hopefully you'll let me know. I know you will. But let's go into the race itself. I'll keep an eye on you guys in the chat as well. We'll let that poll roll up to about 400 or so votes before we put a new one up. But I am all for Homestead, because you got to think, I see Las Vegas, I see Atlanta in there. You have to have it at a ISC track. NASCAR wants it at their tracks. So Homestead would be a big one. It can be warmer in Kansas, but I don't know if you want Kansas as the championship race necessarily. I think Homestead would be a bigger one. Timmy Wolf, thank you for being an 11-month member on that member chat there. Charlotte Oval. I wish, but again, it's a SMI track, and I don't see NASCAR giving that race up. SMI already has, the 600. They already have the All-Star race. They already have a lot of good dates. Bristol Night Race, among others, that fans love. I don't know if they would. I don't know if they would want to give SMI any more dates. By the way, almost 100 likes. Click that like button. If you're new, subscribe to the channel. We do this all the time, and we're well on the way to 75K. So would like to have you aboard. But let's get to the race here. So they announced the sellout this morning. Looked pretty full. I'm glad. Seems like a lot of people at the track had fun with this race, which is all you can ask for. Denny Hamlin wins the pole, but he does not lead early because Ty Gibbs takes the lead at the start. The first laps he has led this season. He ends up finishing third. I'm telling you, Ty Gibbs, you might love him, you might hate him, you might love to hate him. he is going to be somebody to watch this year. He's only going to get faster and faster as the season goes on, and I would not in any way underestimate how good that young driver is and will be. Looking to see, are they already switching the broadcast over or what? I don't know. But keep putting what you think in there. Keep putting what you think of who will or what track should have the championship race. I also see. Oh yeah, pick points wise, I believe Danny had the lowest amount of points for Cup, so pretty much everybody will gain on him. Hey, you might. I get it. I get being upset at the Nepo baby, at the pay drivers, all that stuff. But he's at least good. This isn't like someone who's going to putter around 20th all day. Like, this guy is good. So. And Ross Crashstain wanting the championship race at Rainbow Road. Why am I not surprised? We're on the poll here. But yeah, Ty Gibbs leads early on. Lap 6. Like we mentioned earlier, there was a crash. Derek Kraus just lost it off the corner, and he collects the Austins. Austin Cindric, again, some bad luck for him. Austin Dillon, horrid luck this year. I swear that guy cannot catch a break. Not that he's fast, but he just can't catch a break. Kraus was able to continue on. Dillon would finish 8 laps down in 32nd, but Cindric, again, finishes last because of this crash. So we restart. Gibbs flies out again. And early on, the legacy cars, especially Eric Jones, very fast. Toyota brought it today. And you know what? They had been saying how fast they were, that they thought the car was set up well. They thought the design was well. They thought everything was set up for this race to be a Toyota-dominated race. And by all accounts and by all metrics, I would say this race was a Toyota-dominated race. The Fords got up there late, but the Fords outside of Ryan Blaney did not have top 5 speed today. And even then, Blaney was fringe top 5, emphasis on the fringe part. The only issue I had with stage 1 is Fox going to commercial break during a battle for the lead. I could see them extending it and trying, but come on, you can't wait a lap or two. It ended up not working anyway for them. They didn't. I think it was Jones going against Gibbs, and he didn't get the lead, but at least wait. I mean, any other sport having a lead change under commercial is heresy, but it seems like NASCAR broadcasts just they're too old, man. They are too old. I'm with Noah there. Unacceptable. In between the lanes, any paint schemes I like? I mean, I like a lot of them, but if we're talking about today, I don't know. I mean, nothing crazy about the 20 or the 11, but those Dollar General ones or not Dollar General, Dollar Store brand ones, the dollar schemes, we'll call them. I actually like the dollar schemes. But stage 1 ends with Tyler Reddick winning it over Ty Gibbs. So it's the Ty and Ty show up front. Denny Hamlin finishes 3rd. 4th is Eric Jones. 5th is Chase Elliott. Like I said, Elliott ran up front today. I don't know what happened, if they just couldn't get through traffic, if it was track position just hurt them more because they weren't as good a car as the Blaneys, as the Bells, as the Gibbs, as the Reddicks, Hamlins, you name it. But he ran up there. Byron, 6th in stage 1. Blaney, 7th. Michael McDowell, 8th. Much needed stage points on top of what was an 8th place top 10 finishing day for McDowell. McDowell's supremacy reigns on, and I am very happy about that. Briscoe, 9th in stage 1, and MTJ in the 10th spot. They get an Napa Racing Fan 927 for the 2. This is the Toyota Owners 500. Give Phoenix one date. Agreed. I think Phoenix has a place on the schedule, has a very loyal base of fans at the track. Does not need to be on the track more than once a year. Does not need to be on the schedule either more than once a year. And especially not the championship race. I know that the Icy Vert, Pandemonium, whatever you name it, kind of died down. But even a brand freaking new NASCAR fans like, this is the racetrack that decides the championship. Yep, welcome to our world, buddy. You're becoming one of us. Also, thank you to Sheepbot05 for the $2 super chat. Make both races next year 400 kilometers. Well, this is America. What the hell is a kilometer? I don't know. I mean, then you're starting to change it too much. Phoenix, I think, lengthwise has the right length when it comes to how, time-wise the race is. I think the issue is the racing itself. If Phoenix raced like prime COT New Hampshire, where there were multiple lanes, a lot of passing, tons of strategy finishes at the end, almost every single race, I think people would like Phoenix a lot more and would not put it in the same bin as Texas Motor Speedway or a Kentucky Speedway back in the day. Yeah, spam those Eagles in the chat for America. Let's see what do we got here? Spam those Eagles in the chat for America. Sorry, it's fun to me. But yeah, I mean that it's the racing is the problem. 312 laps for Phoenix is not the problem. Even sometimes the time of year isn't really the problem. Weather-wise, it's been pretty good at Phoenix. The last time we had a rainout for a top 3 Nationally Touring Series race at Phoenix was 10 years ago, or almost 10 years ago, 2015, Dale Jr.'s last win. Trust me, I'd remember. There are so many things going for this track. It is renovated to the top of the line type of facility. It's just the racing. You fix the racing, Phoenix, I think in 5 years, if the racing is magically fixed in November, 5 years from now in 2029, we're looking at a fan favorite track. But that's the problem. The racing has always been the problem at Phoenix. And every time they try and take it under the knife and just butcher that plastic surgery a little bit more, they continue to make it worse and worse and worse. It's pre-2011, 2012-ish area. I think it was the second race in 2011 was the next facelift they gave it. So like early 2011 on back, that Phoenix, generally okay to good racing for the most part. Then it got worse. Then they continued to change it and change it and change it. They just didn't leave shit alone. It's like Texas, man. It's like Texas. Texas, back in the early 2010s, late 2000s, came into its own. It aged. It had good multi-lane racing. And they just continued. They couldn't help themselves. They couldn't help themselves. They thought whether or not they could and not if they should. Ian Malcolm, full bore on it. And they just continued to change and change and change. Auto Club, I can at least get it because of the money part of it, and especially NASCAR paying stuff off. Though that one should not change. Just sometimes stuff needs to be left alone. The Atlanta kind of change where it's changed and fans all of a sudden start universally really liking it. Not normal usually. Spared no expense. Make Texas a 5-mile super speedway. Hell, at this point, go for it. Everything's bigger in Texas. So that's the thing, man. Phoenix has so much going for it, and I think that's what makes it more frustrating. Let's go to stage 2. I don't want to get too worked up on this, though I probably will. So stay tuned, because I probably will talk about the same damn thing, but just at a different angle later. That's what this is. It's just Jarrett's ramblings after the race. I swear. It's dry as hell in here. All right, so we get restarted. Denny leads the restart, runs off. Toyota just takes full control. I think at one point they were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide racing through the pack for a little bit. That's, fun. Famous ramblings. I might as well just listen to ramble on after this show. But really not much happens at this point until Ryan Blaney kicks off some green flag pit stops. Once he does that, you have Gibbs with a slow stop. Denny nearly gets into Suarez on pit road, so you have some shuffling. Todd Gilliland stays out way too long, but he's trying to run a strategy maybe to stay out there 20, 30 laps, and then everybody else has to pit, and he then leapfrogs them in track position. That's the thing. Phoenix today, as it always has been, is a track position race. And you could see the desperation of a lot of drivers to get up there. I mean, the best car at the end of those that really pitted outside of Bell was probably Blaney. He got up to 5th. Of the other ones that pitted around the same time as Blaney, you had Reddick, Hamlin, those guys 10th, 11th, Larson in 14th. So it was still very hard to pass. And thank you to Michael Kelly Gilliam for those 5 gifted memberships. I appreciate that a lot. It was hard as hell to pass. And unless you had like a perfect car out there or a really good car like a Christopher Bell or like at times Reddick had, you were only probably gonna on a run get 4 or 5 spots. I picked Blaney to win, so I was watching that last run. It took him 30 laps to get past Daniel Suarez. Suarez finished 13th. Same damn place he was running, battling Blaney. Blaney managed to get up to 5th because of the difference in tires. Again, very similar to the issues we have at Martinsville. The tire, after like 50 laps at Martinsville, not a problem. You see a good difference of worn tires and whatnot, and the racing gets better. Same thing at Phoenix today. You would start seeing the difference in tires later in the run, but it was like an on-off switch for the car. It's very similar issues. I think minimal change, though. I think it was slightly better. I know you guys majority disagree with me on this. I do think it was slightly better. I don't know if going to 750 horsepower would change it immensely, but for the love of God, NASCAR, just go to it. If Denny and other team owners say it can work, and only the team owners that generally are bootlickers to NASCAR say it doesn't, I'm going to go on the side of the ones who are talking freely and honestly and could get NASCAR pissed off. I don't know if it would change it, but do it. Try it. If it doesn't work, you can tell us, okay, we did it. Sit down, shut up, we know better. Fine. But at least try it. It probably won't make a difference. But with all the other damn changes you made on top of it, who knows? And that's the page I'm on with this. That is fully where I'm at with it. Anyway, end of stage 2, Tyler Reddick would get past a Todd Gilliland staying out way too damn long and Denny Hamlin. It wouldn't be until around the very end of the run that Christopher Bell, whose car just on a freaking switch, just on, goes to the front. 0.3 faster than everybody. And he was that way the rest of the day. Bell wins stage 2 over Reddick, Hamlin, Byron, Truex, then Blaney in 6th, Elliott, Gregson. Again, solid run for Noah Gregson. He was top 5 for a good little chunk of this race. Top 10 for almost all of it. Brad Keselowski in 6th, Buescher in 10th, and Brad Keselowski in 9th in the 6th, Buescher in 10th. That's stage 2. And again, I thought there were positives about this race. Not enough that I could say it was a good race. I would personally, on my poll, vote average. But I thought it was better than last year. Just a little bit. Not enough that I'm like, this is substantially good stuff. This is, you know what, they're on the right path. No, it's more sort of like, oh yeah, the wind blew a little bit in the right direction. That's kind of the page I'm on with it. And then we get to the final stage. And stuff kind of happened early in this final stage, and then stuff stopped happening. So we restart with, give or take about, let's say 117 to go. Hamlin runs out, and we have a caution for Kyle Busch spinning. Now, I want to point something out. I can't remember if it was it Bell or Gibbs or Reddick? One of the top teams had a bad stop. I believe it was Bell. And Jamie Little has been doing this every week, and as much as we rag on her for her terrible commentary, I want to give her and Fox credit for this. Them highlighting the pit crews this year is such a breath of fresh air. I love seeing it every week, and I want to see more of it. I want NBC to do this when they come back on the air. I want to see Prime and TNT do this, highlighting at least once a race how much a pit crew member and how they respond to what they do and how much they influence a race. I want to see that every week, because the emphasis on what a team sport NASCAR is something that I think goes overlooked, but is so important for people to understand who are getting into the sport, because it adds just another layer of interest to it. So I really like it, and I hope that we continue to see this, and I think she's doing a great job with this each week. I don't think we got the crank it up for the pit stops this week, which would be the first race of the year we didn't. I think we can do away with that, but I think talking to the crews, putting like NBC kind of used to do in the early 2000s, where it's like, so-and-so, Cambridge, Wisconsin, whatever, rear tire changer. That, I'd like to see that too. Just keep building on that stuff. I think that you can fill so much dead air time with actual good planned segments that you can put anywhere in the broadcast like that. They don't need to be huge. They don't need to be giant 5-minute skits that we switch to in the middle of a race, but highlighting how good these crews and crew chiefs are and the personalities on pit road. There have been so many times an hour or two before a race, I'll be walking down pit road and just overhear some of the stuff that they're saying, whether it's like, talking about the race itself, or so-and-so did this stupid thing in the driver's lot. Or like there's this one story at Kansas. I'm walking through the pits, I think it's 2019. Then these guys are talking about their fantasy team, and they're like, who's Minnesota play this week? I got Stephon Diggs. It was a while ago. It's like, Washington, easy win. He's like immediately changing his team. Like stuff like that. These guys have personality that can be shown. When I was on pit road for the 2020 Daytona 500, there were multiple pit guys who were like hiding inside the little toolbox that they have on the other side away from the pit box itself that they go and grab stuff from. Funny things you can highlight throughout the broadcast, whether it's that or whether it's other things. Keep it up, Fox. There's still tons of problems that Fox has with their broadcast, but I do think they've improved a ton year over year. And all I have to say is keep up that good stuff. Keep trying stuff. You know what? They tried the stuff on pit road to crank it up. Didn't work, but you know what? I applaud them for trying something that I haven't done in a long-ass time. So, there we go. Yeah, I mean, you're kind of right, Jonathan. Nothing's changed. Washington still is an easy win. But yeah, I like that stuff. So anyway, meanwhile, back at the ranch, about 112 to go. We get another restart. Hamlin and Reddick are fighting for the lead, and Chastain kind of gets in the wall. We have 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 wide racing. And it's just really good stuff for the most part until we get a crash where basically John Hunter Nemechek just ass packs Joey Logano into a giant ass wreck. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot of fun watching Logano now. He is going to have to climb his way up. I wonder if J-Ski has the points just yet. I can see just how far out old Joey is. Let's see what we got, because I can probably update you guys at the moment on what we're looking at. Cup race results. So nothing points-wise yet. But Joey Logano is behind the 8 ball early. Now, yes, there's 22 races until the playoffs start. There's plenty of time for him to win, plenty of time for him to gain points. But Joey Logano early on in this season just does not have good luck. He was not fast today either. He was a lap down when this wreck happened. He collects Barry, LaJoy, Kraus, and Zane Smith in this wreck. But Joey Logano, if this is the speed they have for another 4 or 5 races, if we're getting past like Talladega, Dover, like we're getting into May with Kansas, Darlington, Coke 600, all that coming up, and this is still going on, I do think we have to worry about it. Now, Isaac's saying about 35 points below the cut line. That's unofficial, but that also is almost 2/3 of a race out points-wise. Because the difference you can make up in a single race, and while this is also winning, while also getting 10 stage points apiece in each stage. The most you can make up in a race is 59 points. Now, if you have this for second, 54 points. So when you're 35 points out already or around that range, then you're looking at issues when it comes to that, especially if guys like Noah Gragson are consistently like low-end top 10, you see like the front row guys, if they get their act together consistently, they always start the season slow. McDowell, take this from a guy who is a fan of McDowell. Front row and McDowell always start the seasons off pretty slow. If they start the season off pretty well, not a bunch of DNF, stuff like that, it's a lot more difficult for that 22 to get up there, especially since they're not the fastest team by any means at Penske at this point. It is clear to me that Ryan Blaney is far and away the face of Penske right now. Not just because he won a championship last year. We can say what we want about his season overall, but Speed-wise, that 12 car is, I would say, consistently the fastest Ford week in and week out. Yeah, the RFK guys come up there. Logano can have some good runs. Cindric had a okay speed, 9th to 14th. But Ryan Blaney, I think, is like the only Ford so far this year. It might at this point, week in and week out, be Blaney and then like Gregson and Briscoe and then maybe the RFK guys. They had a good run today, but they haven't in weeks past. But I think Blaney, far and away, is the lead man at Ford, let alone Penske. So basically, long-winded story short, it's not a guaranteed win for Joey Logano. And it might be a difficult season. Now, he might just turn around this coming week at Bristol and whip everyone's asses, lead 200 laps, and lock himself in, and then I look like a complete idiot, which is not unusual. You could say Todd Gilliland, but are we really going to count the super speedways? If we're looking at the tracks with actual speed, it's the 12. And that you need actual speed, not super speedways, like normal tracks. It's the 12. Kyle Busch is struggling too. I don't know what's up with that 8 team and RCR in general. It's just whether it's bad luck or shooting themselves in the foot, they just cannot get stuff to go right. Today, that 8 car was out to lunch. Say what you want about the Hendrick guys. Like, at least they stayed in the lead lap the whole race. Anyway, with 99 to go, we get it restarted again. We have Reddick, Hamlin, and Truex fighting for the lead. They all make contact simultaneously at the same time on the dog leg. And this is also where we have the whole field flipped upside down with strategy. We have Hamlin spinning in front of all of your favorite drivers. I know I pissed off like 2 Hamlin fans on Twitter. Nut up. Like, if Hamlin's going to talk trash to the entire world of NASCAR, you have a little bit of thick skin. Just saying. Plus, he came back. You can say it's an... By the way, with the Logano thing, I see it in there from Super in there. You can say it's an even-numbered year. But trends always end. That's what I've learned in NASCAR. You can never trust a trend to go on forever. Trends end, and it could be an end. But yeah, he spun in front of your favorite driver, man. Good. I'm glad to see that we have Hamlin fans who can take jokes in the chat. I like that. So, we have a flipped field with strategy. Everyone flying here and there and whatnot. Truex and Preece are the front row. Truex runs out with the lead with, 93 to go, 92 to go. Tons of contact through the field. We have Eric Jones getting up into the wall after contact with Bubba Wallace. No yellow. They all keep going. Bell flies up through the field, and with 41 to go, when Truex pits, Bell leads, and he just runs off into the Arizona sunset. Or what is probably at this point just the Arizona afternoon, because it's daylight savings and it's only 4:30 out there. Or 5:30. I don't know. They switch time zone. I don't know how the hell all this shit works. The most west I've went was Idaho, and I never went, too far southwest. So, and based on what I've been seeing with all the airline companies, I don't know if I'm going to fly Southwest or any airline either. But that's a whole nother conversation. But Bell gets the win. Solid win for him, too. So Arizona doesn't switch. So, but that's the thing. Like, they stay the same time, but it means that they're in a different time zone depending on the year. It's so dumb to me. Like, but that's just me. I'm currently in Central Time, and so I'm like 1 away from Cannon time zone. But I thought, okay race, 4 or 5 out of 10. Give me your number out of 10. Between 1 being horrid, absolutely terrible, 10 being all-time classic. What did you think of this race? I'm going to give it a 4. Was not crazy about it personally, but it was not the worst ever. A little below average to average range. I'm seeing a lot of 3s, a lot of 4s, a lot of 6s too. But we generally are in that same like 4 to 6 range. There's a couple 7s, a couple 3s. There's outliers, but I'm seeing more 6s than anything. Which, I mean, it leans on the positive side. I do think he got better. I see Tyler McGonigal giving it a 1. I bet that has nothing to do with how William Byron did today. I'm kidding. I get it. but I thought it was way better than Xfinity. I'll say that. All right, we're doing it. I said I might do it yesterday. We're going to do it before we read the final Super Chats. Race of the weekend, Phoenix edition. Cup, Xfinity, ARCA. I want to make this fair to each race because if I put IndyCar, it's going to win. And I know that even if F1 had a banger, you guys wouldn't vote for it. So, race of the weekend, Cup, Xfinity, or ARCA. This is for NASCAR side of things. We know IndyCar would have won. It's clear as day IndyCar would win. But I want to see what you guys think. While we're doing that, I'm going to get through these final Super Chats and member chats here. SW, thank you for the 5 words from Krusty the Clown on today's race. What the hell is that? Yeah. I'm not going to do the impersonation. It's going to be bad. Rocks, reviews, and reactions. Thanks for the 2. Glad Truex got a 7th after the strategy. A good run. Yeah, very good run. And I think if that race was 20 laps longer, he might have a chance at a top 3. Jake, thank you for the 5. I can't get past Derek Kraus getting a cup ride. I can't imagine this will end well. Didn't end well today, 35th. Michael, again, another thank you for the 5 gifted memberships. Daniel, thank you for the 2. Phoenix has and will always be awful. One date only. I'm on the same one. Hey, take one Phoenix race away, and you don't have to, I'd say take the championship away, definitely. You don't have to put this race as the championship, but take the Phoenix race away and put Chicagoland back on the schedule. We are still on that train on this channel. Subscribe, by the way. We have tons of stuff coming this week. By the way, I will be in the old garage this coming weekend for the Bristol weekend. I'm going back up north to see family. It's my mom's birthday on Monday. Yes, okay, Monday. I wanted to make sure, head spinning and everything. So going to be a lot of fun seeing the Chevelle in the background this coming week. And NASCAR Weekly Podcast, I will still be here for that one. On Eric Estep's channel, though, going to be a lot of fun with that one, too. We got tons to talk about. And Jet MDK is going to be on the show, so a lot of fun there. And then in 2 weeks, Ellie Productions will be on the show, so that'll be a lot of fun. Carl, thank you for the 2. Kyle Busch is also struggling a little. I think I saw that one and definitely agree. We'll go probably a lot more in depth on these guys that struggled. I mean, I'm looking the second half of the field here. You got Elliott, Bowman, Busch, Barry. I think a surprising one in that 4-car. Even if it's a strategy problems, whatnot, they really didn't explain it well in the broadcast. But Jones, Dillon, LaJoie, Logano, Cindric, a lot of names that will be either playoff contenders or fringe playoff contenders. That can pop off every now and then. Bad days today. So going to be really interesting to look at the outlook now after 4 races when stuff is starting to kind of get put into where it's going to be the rest of the year. Napa Racing Fan 927, thank you for the 2. Did the dogleg and or reconfiguration ruin Phoenix? I'd say so. I'm a fan of pre-2011 Phoenix. Milton, thank you for the 2. Kyle Busch was on a hiding to nothing today. Or a ride to nothing too. John, thank you for the 5. At what point is it not overreacting to think the 9 team needs a change? Seems like they can't put together full races anymore. I do think that these flatter tracks have been a struggle for Hendrick Motorsports. We saw like a race today, how none of them finished higher than 14th. We saw Gateway, they struggled for the most part. New Hampshire hasn't been great in recent years to them. But they can put it together for the championship. But even then, they're not the best cars out there. So whatever it is about these sort of flat mile tracks, Hendrick Motorsports just doesn't click too much, man. I see a lot of people already saying on the get rid of Allen train. Let's see. Nap Racing Fan for another 2. Dogleg and or reconfiguration hurt Phoenix. Yeah. I think I already answered that one. And then Trucker Dan, thank you for the membership. I appreciate that too. We're going to end the poll here. 58% of you say the Cup race is the NASCAR race of the weekend. Should probably put that from now on. 23% say ARCA, 18% say Xfinity. Funny thing is, against Xfinity and ARCA there, the ARCA race like rained out at the end, so they didn't even get a full race in. It was still better than Xfinity. Tough start for Xfinity, but we all expected that it was going to be this kind of race tonight. We got through it. Hopefully Bristol's better. We're back on the concrete. Got some throwback stuff this coming week that'll be fun when it comes to the track, painted and the different paint schemes and all that. So still good stuff to look forward to. COTA in a couple weeks too. So I don't think we're looking at like, oh no, the season started good and now it's over kind of thing. I think it's going to be a good season. But that'll do it for tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you all this week. Be sure to be on Eric Estep's channel this Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'll be on there. It's going to be a lot of fun. But you guys enjoy your night since, funny enough, there's still light out. It's the first time I think this season I've done a post-race stream where it's still light out and I'm done. So go enjoy the rest of your day and evening, and I will see you guys next time. So later.